Hey, what's up, rock stars? It's Rocks with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blogs. So let's get to it. All right, you guys, we're not talking about any politics today or anything that has to do with race or any of that. I'm just over it. I don't feel like it. So we're going to talk about these California wildfires, and then we're going to get on to the gossip. So first up, the wildfires in Cali. Every year around this time of the year, in September or so, the Santa Anas kick up in California, and there are gusts of wind that, when combined with the heat, can spark brush fires. It happens every year because there is a drought in California, so the brush is extremely dry and it is susceptible to fires. So this year is no different than any other. However, it is a little bit different because the fire is so huge up in Northern California, and it goes all the way down to even into Southern California, from Anaheim all the way up into Napa Valley. That is a large stretch of land. They said somewhere around 170,000 acres have burned down. Somewhere around 3,500 buildings or homes have been destroyed. They're even saying 23 people were killed, confirmed dead, and somewhere around 250 or so people are still missing that they expect have died in the fire. They can't get into to check on them. That is the downfall of being in California and the drought. Like I said, it doesn't rain there often, and so the brush, which in many cases surrounds a lot of communities in the mountains, the brush will catch on fire, and then the communities are kind of trapped in between the brush, and they fall victim to it and burn down. So I'm assuming that this fire has been going on for some time now, and it is still out of control. When you look at the map of California on the internet and just seeing where the fires are, it just seems like it is completely going down. California basically takes up the whole west side of the United States of America, the whole west coast. You know, you get a little bit of Oregon and a little bit of Washington, but for the most part it's California. And like I said, it looks like the fires have touched from the very top all the way down. So our prayers up to everybody in California that are affected, even as close as Anaheim, which is not too far from Los Angeles. Everyone is telling me that there are ashes that are covering people's cars and, you know, just in the air. Adding to the smog that's already there, the smog problem that's already there. Just terrible. Hopefully they will get control of the fire. They will eventually, but unfortunately not before many people will lose either their homes or their lives in the devastation. So like I said, prayers up to everybody in California that's affected by the fire. Hopefully they can get it under control, and not too many more people will lose their possessions. Keep your head up, West Coast. Alright, you guys, so on to the gossip. Let's talk about Harvey Weinstein. Harvey Weinstein has been wilding out there in Hollywood, hasn't he? This story does not come as a very large surprise to me, only because the scandal is so big, is because the name is so big. Harvey Weinstein, we know him. We've heard of the name even if you don't know exactly who he is. His production company, his distribution company in Hollywood is responsible for many large Hollywood hits, including Pulp Fiction, and I think they said The English Patient, and Shakespeare. A lot of large, big budget Hollywood movies have come through his company. And Harvey Weinstein has also been very well known in the Democratic political arena. You know, he has donated plenty of money to the Democratic Party, including President Barack Obama's campaign. So yes, he is definitely a big name in California. Now they're saying that, they're not just saying it now. They say for about 20 years there has been rumor that Harvey, be cutting up out there and has been sexually harassing all the way up to assaulting, up and coming Hollywood starlets, using his influence and his power to make them do things that they didn't want to do sexually. It's been rumored for 20 years, or it's been, one of those things that everybody knows but nobody has said anything about it. But evidently New York Times finally did a very large expose article about Harvey Weinstein and had all of these starlets. These are now huge Hollywood female stars that are coming out and talking about the things that Harvey Weinstein has done to them in the past. And when I say big names, I mean big names. We've got Angelina Jolie, we've got Gwyneth Paltrow and Mira Sorvino and Kate Beckinsale, and very large female Hollywood stars now are coming out and talking about the sexual allegations against Harvey. And it seems like he had a regular method of operation. He would invite these girls. Again, these girls may be just starting out in their career, but promising careers ahead of them. He would invite them to his room. He would ask them for massages. Some people talked about them having to wrestle him off of them. Even others talked about how he forced them to give him blowjobs, to have oral sex, him performing on them, and just like all of these crazy stories when you read it. But I don't know, not necessarily super surprising, only that he would do it so much and get away with it. But see, that's how you know that the more powerful you are in Hollywood, how you are basically able, or how at least in the past you have basically been able to just kind of fucking run amok and not be checked for it. Now, we've talked about Bill Cosby in the past and the things that have happened to him. Now it looks like the chicken have come home to roost with Harvey Weinstein. So he's been fired from his own company. We all know that means that they told him that he needs to distance himself from his company to stop the bleeding. That is there's a board there, so I'm imagining that is a publicly held company. It has stock, it has stock investors and people that are concerned about their bottom line, and they can't have Harvey, connected to it in any way, even though it is his name. It's obviously still his company, but I'm sure he has many shares invested in it as well. Yeah, he's out, and they say that he's going to get rehabilitation, okay? Originally, he said that he didn't do it, that it was lies, and that everybody that he has had sex with, that it has been consensual. But as people have come out, and these, like I said, are big names, trusted names, people that really have no reason to lie at this point in their careers, now that they're coming out, being strengthened by the numbers of the accusations, now Harvey has come out and said, well, maybe he did make a mistake. He come from an era where everybody was fucking around and having sex, and it was that's just what they did back then. Evidently they don't do that no more. No, Harvey, we don't do that no more. I don't even know if they did it back then, or they did do it back then, but it was not because they wanted to. It was because they were forced to. And now he's realizing that. So I don't know if there's going to be any criminal charges pressed against him. Up to now, it is 29 Hollywood female stars that have come out and said that he has attacked them in some kind of way. And considering how long Harvey Weinstein has been in the game, there probably are way more that are just deciding to not say anything. We'll see. We'll see what happens with Harvey Weinstein. But more interestingly, I'm wondering what's going to happen to his company. Are they going to change the name? Maybe just take his first name off and leave it just the last name? Maybe use the initials or something? Something's going to have to happen there. Because as long as his name's attached to it, that's going to be the negative. Bad time, bad PR for Harvey Weinstein and his company, the board of directors and everybody over there. I'm sure they are just over the fact that they've got to deal with this and, finally have to face what Harvey's been doing. But they say that this happens a lot in Hollywood. As a matter of fact, Terry Crews, you guys know him, he's come out and said that even recently, as last year, he was at a party with his wife in Hollywood, and a very large Hollywood industry mogul came up to him and groped him. Just basically grabbed his dick, okay, in front of his wife and in front of other people there, like it was okay. Terry said that his first instinct was to whoop the man's ass, but then he thought about it. How would this look? This is a huge Hollywood mogul. I am a black man, 250 pounds. It's not going to look right, and me beating his ass. That will be all over the headlines. He also had to think about being ostracized, and just the negative part of beating this man's ass, which really he should have been able to do. You can't just come up and grab somebody's dick like that. So anyway, the next day he said He called everybody that he knew that knew this man, told him what happened, just trying to get some understanding on why he even thought that that was okay. He said that the Hollywood mogul did contact him and somewhat apologized for what he did, but never, kind of explained why he thought it was okay in the first place. And Terry Crews went on to say that he very much believes that Harvey Weinstein and many others do the same thing. I mean, if you are bold enough to walk up to this big black man in the middle of a Hollywood party and grab his dick, then can you imagine what he's doing to a little white woman, okay, who has nothing but stars in her eyes, wants to be a huge star in Hollywood, and is there with Harvey Weinstein? When you read the stories, everybody's talking about how huge he was and how overwhelming he was and how scary he was, and made them many times overpowered the girls. So if they're doing it to Terry, then yeah, it's very easy that they could be doing this to other women. I 100% believe it, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Harvey Weinstein and his company. But I don't know, all you folks out there in Hollywood, I tell you, everything that glitters ain't gold. There's some tough times out there. People that want to make it, they go through a lot. They go through a lot. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think about old Harvey. Okay, wildin'. Somebody get your boy. Alright, you guys, old Tyrese bitch ass. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was talking to you guys about how he was very upset that Dwayne Johnson, better known as The Rock, was contemplating doing a spinoff of Hobbs, the character from one of the characters from the Fast and Furious franchise. Okay, he's doing a spinoff of the Hobbs movie. A few weeks ago was just talk, but now it seems that it has been confirmed, as Dwayne Johnson posted, that the movie is in motion, and the production is going to be starting soon. Well, why did he say that, y'all? Because your boy Tyrese has had a full fit. For some reason, Tyrese believes that the fact that they're having this franchise spinoff, that it is going to kill any steam that has been behind the Fast and Furious movies. I already told you guys last time that we talked about this. I don't really know how many Fast and Furious movies Tyrese really thought they were going to make. I mean, fuck, you guys are up to 9. There are not many movies that make it to cycle 9 in a franchise. So already Fast and Furious is doing great things, okay? Every great thing comes to an end, though. And you cannot expect to fucking have Fast and Furious 38. Like, what the fuck does he think is going... I guess he wanted to make, I understand you want a good thing to keep going. I'm sure that Fast and Furious has made everybody that is in that movie rich. So I can understand that you would want something like that to continue, but realistically, how much longer was Fast and Furious going to go on anyway? And they're not even saying that Fast and Furious is ending, are they? I know that Fast and Furious 9 has already been filmed and is scheduled to be coming out soon. I'm assuming the biggest determining factor of if it will continue to go on is the success of Fast and Furious 9 in the box office. And I don't know how Hobbs would take away from that. But anyway, taking all logic out of the fucking equation, okay, your stupid ass Tyrese, he just been riding the rock, okay? I kept on saying The Rock should not even respond, that he didn't need to, even say anything back to Tyrese. But like any other human being who's had a fucking enough, he finally does respond to Tyrese, okay? First he talks about, how big dogs eat and little puppies stay on the porch. Didn't really necessarily come right out and say, talk about Tyrese, but we all knew who he was talking about. When that didn't seem to be enough for Tyrese and he had to swing back again, The Rock had to come out and just basically say, listen, I listened to his album Black Rose, okay, and it's some bullshit, okay, some of the worst shit Now he's petty, okay? Because actually Black Rose was not a bad album. I mean, it's not my favorite Tyrese album, but not bad. But anyway, you can just tell that he is trying to get back at Tyrese. These are the things that mean something to Tyrese and is going to affect him. But, I'm just so tired of Tyrese. He goes on to post himself on the cover, he done superimposed himself on a Forbes magazine cover, talking about, how he always gonna be this, that, and the other, and he always gonna be making money and all of that. Nigga, don't put yourself on the You are so corny to put yourself on the cover of a Forbes magazine when they didn't do it themselves, okay? The font wasn't all the way exactly right. He got clowned for that. So much so that then the wife had to come out. I said, girl, go on, sit down somewhere. You do not need to defend your man. I understand that we love our men and we want to help him out, but you know what? Tyrese dug this fucking grave for himself. I can't even laugh about Tyrese no more because he's so fucking ridiculous. And he done pulled and dragged that poor wife into it. Ain't nobody gonna like her ass when he done with her too, you know? Oh, he's just stupid. People want me to stretch out the hands of prayer. I can't even do it for Tyrese because usually when I have stretch out the hands, I have some compassion for the person. I don't have none for Tyrese. He's like a fucking hair bump. Gets on my goddamn nerves. So no, I'm sorry. I can't with Tyrese. Hopefully he'll figure it out though. You better leave the rock alone though, okay? You definitely don't want to see him physically. Just go on and do your little Fast and Furious movies and try to do something else with your life, Tyrese, honey. Every good thing doesn't last forever. Guys, your boy Cornell Hayes Jr., better known as Nelly. Okay, they arrested him the other day, I think it was Saturday, for raping a girl. He had just performed at a concert up in Washington. Supposedly after the concert, there was an after party that moved on to his tour bus. And evidently, one of Nelly's fans and Nelly got into that back room of that tour bus and let her tell it she was forced to have sex with him without a condom. She was raped. So after she left the bus, she called the police 3:48 a.m. and she let them know that she was forced to have sex with him and that they did not use a condom. They went on and arrested Nelly later on that morning for second-degree rape. Now, when I heard the story, my mind just kind of goes all over the place. One part of you says, I don't think Nelly would do something like that considering the star that he is. I mean, he's not an A-list star, no, but Nelly can still hang with the A-list folks, okay? He's still out there even though he ain't really making no new music and everything. So I was just like, I don't think he would do that. But then I also think about the girl, and you start thinking like, well, why is it that we would expect that this girl would be lying? Even stars can rape somebody. Listen to the story I just told you guys about Harvey Weinstein. So it's definitely not impossible. So then you start to not know what to think, and you just feel like you're going to have to wait for the facts of the case to come out. But I will say this. Okay, two things. My frustration with Nelly would be that you, as the star that you are, who have been in this game for so long, should know better than to still put yourself in situations where something like this could even happen to you, where you could even be accused of raping somebody. I will never understand why these men don't find them a regular, steady call girl. And if you feel like you want to be fucking on somebody new, then get you a new call girl. But just getting people off of the street, and sleeping with these fans and groupies, I understand that's probably what they used to do back in the day, but this is a new time. This is a new era. This is a new day. Don't even put yourself in that position. Haven't you seen what's happened to all of these other people? Look at Kevin Hart, your boy. Just went through this. Then he's with this girl in the spotlight with his girlfriend. I don't even know what the girl named. Miss Jackson, that's her name. You're in a full-blown relationship. You out here having sex with these girls with no condom on, knowing that they could even get pregnant. Even if you wasn't raping the girl, okay, and it was consensual, you just fucking somebody, you just meeting them, they could get pregnant. Like, I honestly will never understand what goes through these men's fucking heads. Like, they just lose all train of thought and common sense when they get out here with these bitches that want to fuck on them. Okay, I can't never understand it. So I'm frustrated with Nelly for that bullshit, okay? And then let's talk about the girl. Now, everybody is giving Wendy Williams flack for what she said because they said that she was victim blaming on her show when she, kind of just, I didn't see the full clip, but from what I saw, it just made it seem like she was just like, well, that's what you get because you shouldn't have been there in the first place. And nobody should ever victim blame, okay? Because the fact of the matter is the motherfucker is there and he should be having control of himself enough to know that no means no. I should not be forced to do so. But, you guys, we have got to get out of this thinking that our environments and where we put ourselves has no bearing on what happens to us. As women, we have to be conscious and protect ourselves. That is coming from a place of love. That's not coming from that's what you get. That's coming from me saying, don't even do it. See, because when I have a talk with Jada, I'm gonna say, don't let these motherfuckers look. When you go out on a date with them, you gonna always have access to your car. You should be able to get the fuck away from them, okay? You tell them no and it look like it's gonna be a problem, then you need to not even be around them. And that's not necessarily just sex, that's just whatever. I still want us as women to put ourselves first, because we can only control us and what we do. The girl may be naive and she may not have known better, and you know, it's sad that she had to learn a lesson this way. But yeah, I would tell all women out there, young girls especially, I mean even older, everybody, be aware of what you do. Do not put yourself in a position where somebody can take over you. But with all that being said, I'm not saying that I believe that he's done it or that he hasn't done it. I'm just going to choose to wait and see what the results of the investigation is. I will put in, though, that they released him without any charges. They arrested him, said that there was going to be a second-degree rape charge, but then they released him without any charges, said that they're going to, you know, still further investigate. But again, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the investigations. In the meantime, Nelly, you too fucking old and grown and know better. You guys, on your girl Nene Leakes. It ain't been a good week or two for Nene, okay? She was at a comedy show. She was the MC, I believe, for a comedy show. It was Tiffany Haddish. It was a bunch of female comedians there performing. And like I said, Nene, I believe, was the MC. This was in California, performing at the Paramount Theater. There was a heckler in the audience, which happens when you go to comedy shows. And Nene didn't look like she could really handle it. I guess in her little act, she was talking about an Uber driver. And when this person was heckling her, she went on to say, I hope he rape your ass tonight when he takes your ass home, bitch, and steal your funky Hello Kitty, bitch. At Nene, you always want to talk about somebody puss stinking. That's such a nasty, vile kind of way of talking. Who says these kind of things? But yeah. Nene said that at the comedy show and didn't go over well. There are definitely limitations to even comedy. And in today's times, you definitely can't even joke about something like somebody raping you. So, you know, somebody was recording from the audience. It was posted the next day and everybody dragged Nene for saying some shit like that. I mean, that's the first thing that comes to your mind is I hope he raped your ass? Nothing else that you could think of other than jumping to rape. Not even a funny, rape is never even a funny, it's very hard to make jokes about rape. It was interesting that that's where her mind went originally. And yeah, people gave her the blues about it. She did apologize. She said that, and I'm just paraphrasing for you guys, but she said that she's even been in situations when she was younger where she was taken advantage of sexually, and she would never wish that on the other people. She shouldn't have said it, okay? Yeah, you're in a comedy, you know, you're in this moment, you're trying to be funny, trying to come off the top of your head. Okay, she made a mistake. It was a bad mistake. It might be a comedy career-ending mistake if that's what Nene is choosing to try to go down that field. You know, Nene is not a comedian. And people think that just because you're funny that you should be able to just get up on a stage. And there's so way much more to being a comedian. It's a craft. You have to have your timing. You have to have subjects that people can relate to. You know, you have to be able to say things in a way that people don't get offended. Because, I mean, we've heard people talk about some way out shit, right? However, there's a way still to do it. There's an art to being a comic, and a lot of people don't respect that. So Nene might be one of those ones that had to learn the hard way, because even she remember when she was having all those issues with, what's her name? The one that looked like she smelled like hair grease. What's her name, y'all? Lunell. When Lunell was trying to tell her that she wasn't a comedian, was giving her all that grief about it, you know, Nene kind of just brushed her off. Well, now she realizes there is more to just being funny, getting up on stage and talking. You have to have it. And yeah, that wasn't funny. So yeah, she apologized. People not really feeling her apology. And then she got on Instagram Live and was crying. People were saying that it was fake tears, and I don't think it was fake tears. I'm sure she now regrets what she said. Everybody always feels like when you apologize that you're not sincere. In this case, I really do feel like Nene realized that she made a big mistake and that this is probably going to follow her for some time. So I was just like a bad week. Now, this was off of the heels of, the whole roach fiasco at her house. Brielle being there. I still don't really know 100% the story. What I understand is Brielle was at Nene's house, and Kim was at the house as guests, +1 for Sheree. Nene was having a white party, and Brielle was in the bathroom and supposedly taking video of herself, not realizing that there was a roach in the background, and she posted it on Snapchat. And then when everybody told her that it was a roach there, she immediately took it down, but she sent it on to Kim, I suppose, and Kim sent it on to the staff of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and that is how the video got out. Okay, well, Nene got upset about that and said that, Kim was racist and that, she was a bitch, and, that they brought the roaches in there. It must have crawled out of Brielle's funky pussy, like all this craziness. They was going back and forth. She was saying that Kim was racist, and Kim was saying that she wasn't racist, and she didn't put the video out, but you did put the video out because you sent it to the, once you got it from your daughter and you sent it to the Real Housewives of Atlanta staff, then it's out now. It's not still contained within just one phone. They was going back and forth and arguing, and Kim was saying she wasn't a racist, and now they say that Kim has threatened to sue Nene, said that she has assembled a legal team with Allison Hart. This is a, power attorney out here in Atlanta, I suppose, and the Lavelle and Singer firm. I don't know if that's right. My phone is, and I don't think I typed that. It changed the word. It's either Lavelle, Lavette, and Singer firm. So I don't see Kim really suing Nene. Okay, this is all just drama, and Kim just threatening her to hopefully that Nene will stop. I guess Nene is preoccupied now with all of the shit that she said about the Uber man raping the girl. So I guess Nene probably is gonna lay off of Kim now. But yeah, now Kim is on the circuit saying that she gonna sue Nene, and I don't even know, I kept on saying that I was cool with Kim coming back, but the more I think about it, I don't even know why they bringing her back, because nobody likes her. The only person I think that she gets along with on the show is Sheree, and possibly Portia, and maybe only because Portia don't have no other fucking friends on the show. So again, I'm talking about Real Housewives of Atlanta, and the fucking show ain't even on for another month. Child, I can't. But yeah, not a good week. Not a good week for your girl Nene Leakes. You guys, I'm probably going to get a lot of people having problems with me saying this or disagreeing with me, and I'm just going to have to take it on the chin today, you guys. This whole Boy Scouts and girls being allowed to be in Boy Scouts is stupid to me. It's ridiculous. I know that there's been this never-ending battle to have equality within the sexes. Now we've got gender issues and people that maybe transgender or wanting to be able to get into different groups according to who they identify with, opposed to what they are sexually born as. I get all that, and I'm definitely for many transgender issues and equality with the trans, all of that being aside, it's ridiculous that they're going to be letting girls be in Boy Scouts. What the fuck do we have Girl Scouts for? It would be different if they didn't have Girl Scouts and it was just Boy Scouts. Then I would understand girls feeling like they're left out and that they want to be included into the Boy Scouts. But I honestly think that it is ridiculous that an institution such as the Boy Scouts or the Girl Scouts that has been around for so long, that now they're changing it to allow girls to be a part of the Boy Scouts. It makes no sense to me. But again, there is that issue of equality and trying to make sure that everybody is included. And once you start doing that and wanting to, even with the bathrooms, being co-ed, and now everything that has been deemed boys or girls only, now it's going to be a situation where everything is going to be started to be, co-ed or girls can be in the boys and the boys. So is the boys going to be able to get in the Girl Scouts now? And we know that the Girl Scouts is not as big of a I mean, it doesn't have as much it's not as large I can't think of the word that I'm saying. Boy Scouts organization is way huger. So it almost makes me feel like in some kind of way that the Girl Scouts is just going to be done away with. And that it'll just be what? The Scouts? Oh, I don't get it. I think it's ridiculous. And then lastly, you guys, on quickies, Jhené Aiko with this Big Sean tattoo. I saw that, I said, girl, I mean, the D must be spectacular, okay? You committed fully to that, because it is all kind of shadows and colors, and it ain't small, and it's a whole lot of detail. You can tell it is definitely Big Sean. What was you going through to make you do that? But then I think about it again, and they say that Jhené Aiko has actually been going through a lot. Now, we know her divorce was just settled recently, and now she is Big Sean's 100%, even though she's been with him even before she seemed to have broken up with her damn husband. But it did come out, I did read recently that with this last album that she had, that she was addicted to drugs. And this album was kind of her trying to, you know, get off of the drugs and telling her story and all of that. And I just thought to myself, like, here's this beautiful, talented girl hooked on drugs and in an unhappy relationship. And I mean, evidently got a whole lot going on with her life. They say that she has been sober, she said, since she released the album. And all I know is that fucking Big Sean better stay the fuck put. Okay, because she obviously has incorporated him into her life so much so that she probably needs him. And y'all know Big Sean, and he done been in and out. Now he seems to really have, you know, they seem to be very happy together. So I'm just hoping that it's gonna last. But I was just like, girl, this tattoo. Child, I guess. The Bobby Christina movie, real quick. Bobby Brown was trying to get it blocked all the way up until like a few days before the show was supposed to air. And the judge overruled him and allowed the movie to come on TV One. I believe it came on Sunday night. It was okay, Bobby Brown. You didn't even have to worry about it, because that movie was a whole bunch of nothing. It was nothing that we did not already know about Bobby Christina. If it was some shit in there that we didn't know, it was stuff that we could have imagined happened the way that it happened. It was absolutely an unnecessary 2 hours out of my life. The acting was good. Vivica Fox was able to make that, you know, that horrible Pat Houston seem somewhat human. We didn't see Gary, you know, strung out on drugs. They didn't even put the mama in the movie. Okay, the girl that played Bobby Christina actually did a good job. Demetria McKinney played the hell out of Whitney Houston, right? I mean, that damn Demetria McKinney must have played the hell out of an old crackhead babble, you know, nervous energy Whitney, always singing at the drop of a hat. Nippy. I said, girl, you are doing that. Demetria has a beautiful voice, and she is able to sound somewhat like Whitney Houston. She still doesn't have the depth. Her voice is not as full as Whitney Houston's, but she's familiar with the riffs and a lot of the ways that Whitney Houston would end her notes and everything. So she did really, I thought that she did the best interpretation of Whitney Houston in any of the movies that we have had. As an adult, you know, in Whitney Houston's later years. But other than that, they could have done without the movie. I told you guys that what was the purpose? Y'all keep on talking about these two women that have, both of their lives have ended in tragedy. There's nothing good to even talk about. Let them girls rest in peace. The show Mary Jane, starring your girl Gabrielle Union, has been canceled. They say that the finale will be a 2-hour movie. Also, the show Survivor's Remorse was canceled. Both of those shows, I am not surprised. As far as Being Mary Jane is concerned, they should have canceled that movie, that show a long time ago. And y'all know I had been over Being Mary Jane. Okay, basically, when the original writers left the show, it was just sort of, I just was done with it. I know she has still stayed on as producers of the show, but the writing changed, and you know, Mary Jane is just really not a likable person. I will admit, though, this last season has been better, but it's all good because how long the show lasted? We now up to like the 5th or 6th season, so the show did run its course. Like I said, they're going to have a 2-hour finale. At least they are giving her that. And whatever. Okay, Survivor's remorse hasn't been the same ever since Michael Epps left. Again, I feel like the writing changed. When he left, the show took a different direction, and some of the funny was not there, and it became to be very preachy and started to feel like they were just tackling a social issue after social issue and kind of losing the, you know, the originality of the show, and the fact that this is a kid that, you know, came up and was a basketball player and taking care of his family. Now it was a whole bunch of other stuff. So that show is also being canceled. And I think it lasts 4 years. So again, it did last a long time. But sad to see these black shows go. Hopefully they will be replaced with even better black content. Remember when I told you guys a couple of weeks ago that Jemele Hill was going to get fired for ESPN for, you know, speaking out against Trump? Well, looks like what I told you guys was going to happen. I warned you guys already, so nobody should really be all that surprised that ESPN has suspended her for 2 weeks for speaking out against Jerry Jones. And, you know, she basically was just saying that Jerry Jones and the NFL are putting these players in ridiculous and impossible positions by forcing them contractually to stand. ESPN did not like what she said. They have suspended her. You guys know that suspension, usually you be gone for 2 weeks. So that's just enough time for them to get their paperwork together. And then when you come back, they fire you. So I believe fully 100% that Jemele Hill is already fired. And they did say that her co-host, Michael Smith, said that he is not going to appear on the show until she comes back. So you can just might as well get ready that Michael gonna be out too. They'll both be fine. They'll both land on their feet. They'll both get other jobs. But it's unfortunate that someone that is expressing themselves and how they feel, and she wasn't even really talking bad about anybody. She was just making a point on how the NFL is really putting these people in these predicaments where they could lose their fan base and the support of their community just because they're trying to keep their boss happy. And really, I guess Jemele Hill is in that same situation. I mean, you know what? She has a voice that black people want to hear, and then she has these bosses that don't want her to say anything. So we can relate the two together, but unfortunate that people cannot say how they feel these days, and social media has it now that the minute you say anything, shit is being held against you. We'll see what happens with Jemele Hill, but I already know she's fired. That Dove soap ad? Okay. Everybody was all up in arms about the picture. It was a still picture going around where this black girl's taking off her shirt, and then underneath that shirt she turns into a white woman. And it was also supposed to be some talk about Dove talking about, you know, being unclean and then becoming clean. And it was a still picture, and I have been around long enough to know on social media nowadays that you can't really make an assumption off of a picture. Okay, if it was a commercial, then we need to see the commercial. Well, the commercial finally did surface on the internet. Dove had taken all the ads and everything related to this particular ad campaign down, but once the commercial aired, it was actually 7 women, all of different races. As they took off their shirt, they turned into another race. Had nothing to do with a person being black being considered dirty and then turning into this clean white woman. Okay, because right after the white woman, then there was a Mexican woman, and so on and so on and so on. Okay, if Dove made any kind of mistake or case of racial insensitivity, it would have been possibly having the black girl go before the white girl. But other than that, like, and even that is not really, you know, it was nothing. It was nothing. People were tagging me and want me to do an extra on it and everything. I said, no, we're not doing nothing, because by the time I get to top of the blogs, it's going to be cleared up. Okay, Dove, they have been around long enough to know. Now, I know they probably need to hire them some black people on their team now, but they've been around long enough to know, and I'm hoping that they had advertisers, professional marketers, and things like that who would be smart enough to not have a campaign saying shit like that. So, y'all, again, social media, y'all gonna stop believing everything. Everything is not racially motivated, okay? Nothing wrong with that damn Dove soap ad at all. And lastly, you guys, Atlanta has a new marijuana law. Okay, Mayor Kasim Reed has signed into legislation that penalties will be reduced for the possession of weed that's less than 1 ounce. Okay, now I don't even know how much an ounce is. Is that a handful? Is that a little baggie? Like, child, I don't even know. But if you got less than 1 ounce, you're gonna be good. Now, in the past, you had a $1,000 fine and you had up to 6 months in jail. Okay, now it's a $75 ticket, bitch, and that's it. You ain't going to jail or nothing. So basically, they're saying you can have your own little individual, you know, you're just enough to get you through the night, just enough to get your nerves right when you just need to be home and just blaze one up real fast. Okay, all you weed heads out there, I guess, should be happy. Again, I know nothing about weed, so y'all let me know. How much is an ounce? Alright, you guys, that's it. We do this every single week, so make sure that you rate, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, rock stars. Bye.